It's Thursday. That means it is time for What's More Likely. Once again, we're working on some intro videos. So, you got a couple. Shout out to Parker. But if you got a couple, hit us with them. We'd love to get them in on the show. If not, we're working on them. We'll get them out here soon. A little tunes, a little jazz going on, a little something. With that said, it's week 7. The Pittsburgh Steelers, man, what a week in the Steel City, my friend. And with that, I will toss it to you. Week 7's edition of What's More Likely.
Yeah, let's start in the wide receiver room. What's more likely? George Pickens scores his first touchdown of the season, or with his best friend Russell Wilson but at the helm, will Calvin Austin score his second?
Calvin Austin's going to score his second touchdown. What's more likely? Calvin Austin scoring his I mean, this is the guy that we started the offseason talking about. Is this the next Tyler Lockett? Him and Russell Wilson love each other. They are best buds here. The person who will benefit the most from a quarterback change in Pittsburgh this weekend will be number 19, Calvin Austin. I would put everything I had on that one. I believe he will be the guy that defenses will not be paying tight attention to, that the offense will have formulated plans to get him open. And guess what? His quarterback's going to throw him the football when he's ready to receive the football. I'm going Calvin Austin on this one. What's more likely? It just feels like the connection between him and Russ is strong and has been strong all year long. Very excited to see what they can do. He's the guy that'll benefit the most. What's more likely? Calvin Austin reaches the end zone for number 2 before George does his first time.
All righty, let's move over to the next one. What's more likely? Russell Wilson throwing for over 250 passing yards, or Russell Wilson throwing 2+ interceptions on Sunday?
Oh, what's the first one? 350 yards?
250 yards.
250 yards. Easy. With ease. A couple of things here. One, this is Mike Tomlin's guy, my friend. This offense is no longer a Pittsburgh Steelers run the football offense. It's a Russell Wilson is here to save the day offense. Russ will throw more times than Justin has all season long in this game, because Mike Tomlin will have a heavy hand in picking out these games and picking out these plays and this game plan and so on and so forth. Russ will throw a lot. He will not turn the ball over twice, because Russ doesn't turn the ball. He doesn't throw interceptions. That's the one really good thing about Russell Wilson, is he's never been a guy that throws a boatload of picks. He gets sacked all the time, but he doesn't turn the football over. That's what the Steelers want. 250 yards is easy, especially with Russell Wilson. I mean, that's a stat that, that's probably 150 in most quarterbacks' eyes. To him, that's just where he gets started, and then he goes from there. I'm going 250 is more likely in this one. Two interceptions. I doubt he throws 2 interceptions all season long. Not consecutively. I mean, in a game.
Okay, fair enough. Enough. I was about to say, dang, that is a lofty goal here.
Yeah, no, I'm not making that bold prediction.
I know what I'm putting on the graphic for tomorrow. He's not going to throw 2 interceptions all season. No strat line.
I mean, you could. I'll get some brownie points for Russ, but no, that's not what I mean. No.
All righty, let's go to the next one here with a couple rookies. What's more likely? Beanie Bishop gets his first career interception this weekend, or Roman Wilson, who is on the injury report with a hamstring injury, scores his first touchdown?
Gosh, if there was a third option for neither, you would go third option for neither. But what's more likely, if you're just speaking logical sense of the term here, it's got to be Beanie Bishop. He's going to play. I'm not even convinced Roman Wilson's going to be active this weekend. I mean, you're dealing with a hamstring injury. You're limited in practice again. It just feels like that's all you had to do. You had to have one setback for the team to say, all right, you're inactive again. Sounds good. Here we go. We'll see what happens. Let's ride with Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller, Calvin Austin, and George Pickens. And Michael Pruitt might be coming back. Doesn't feel like this is a Roman Wilson game. I would have to go Beanie Bishop. That being said, that is a tall task, my friend. This week is a rough one for my boy Beanie Bishop. I mean, I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he succeeds. He has got a challenge in front of him, because if it's not Devontae Adams moving to the slot, it's Garrett Wilson moving to the slot. And if it's not that, it's Alan Lazard. And none of those are guys that Beanie Bishop can go up against, and you could say he's gonna lock him down. 100%, no fear at all. He's gonna lock him down. And nothing against Beanie. It's just sometimes the competition is a lot. That's where we're at this week. Aaron Rodgers is going to go after him a lot.
Alrighty,
a lot on Sunday Night Football.
You mentioned he might go to Devontae Adams, and Adams is actually in the next one here. What's more likely? Devontae Adams in his New York Jets debut goes over 100 receiving yards, or Najee Harris for the second consecutive week goes over 100 rushing yards.
I mean, you got to go what's more likely. Again, the logical pick here is Devontae. It's not the pick you want to make. It's not the one anybody wants to hear. It's not, it's not going to gain us any fans in this one, but it's Devontae, because Aaron Rodgers is going to throw to him that's who Aaron Rodgers is, man. Aaron Rodgers cares 10 times more about making sure that him and Devontae look real, real good on Sunday Night Football than he does about anything else on Sunday Night Football. As long as him and Devontae look like this was the move, man, they're back. The bad boys are here. Movie number 7 or whatever we're at. That's what Aaron will be thinking about. Devontae is going to get a ton of targets. The Jets defense is good, real good. And now you're dealing without Zach Frazier, Ryan McCollum. I don't know what to expect from him. It's just, that's a tall task. That's a tall task for Najee Harris. I'm going Devontae. I just think the route there is easier. That being said, Joey Porter Jr. was talking to me today, and he said that he is very excited to lock him up and go against him and do a little chirping. He said he's very excited to get Devontae chirping. So we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be a real good battle, but Aaron's going to target him a lot. I'd go, what's more likely, Devontae over 100 yards?
I mean, I will say last year they went up against each other early in the season, and they had to get Devontae away from Joey Porter for him to make his biggest play of the game, which is whenever he embarrassed Levi Wallace and Patrick Peterson on the same play.
Yes. And he might get that with Garrett Wilson. You might get that opportunity again. Dante Jackson's a much better corner, but you just don't know if a crossing route he ends up with Beanie Bishop. You just never know what's going to happen. Targets will be high. I'm going Devontae.
Basketball season is right around the corner, and there are few live events that make you feel as in the moment. And I get it. Football season is probably one of them where you feel like you're there. You're part of the action. Well, let me tell you about Game Time and how Game Time has this new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filter out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I decided to jump on and see what Pittsburgh Steelers versus New York Jets tickets look like in primetime, and it took me 3 seats before they hit me with a great deal, telling me that not only are these probably the cheapest, but for the view, they may be the best deal that anybody can offer. Let me walk you through a couple of really nice things about Game Time. First, priority. Game Time Picks curates to make it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. They give you all-in pricing, which means that this feature shows you the total upfront cost with no surprise fees at checkout, because that is the absolute worst thing about buying tickets. They give you seat views because nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to show up not knowing what their view of the stadium is going to look like. The lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And Game Time ticket coverage, which means that your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code ALLSTEELERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time.
I got one more for you, and then we got a couple of listener inquiries as well for what's more likely. My last one, what is more likely? The Steelers win a playoff game this year, or the Jets win a playoff game this year?
I mean, the Steelers easy on this one. The Jets, in my eyes, they're 2-4. They're fighting from behind. Who knows if they're even going to make the playoffs where we sit currently. And that's nothing against the Jets. I'm not sitting here saying the Jets stink, or it's just the Jets are the Jets. Then they look like the Jets and they're doing Jet things. The Steelers look like the Steelers, and the Steelers are doing Steeler things. I mean, everybody's got to remember the Steelers were 4-2 last year. And people forget that. People forget the Pittsburgh Steelers were 4-2 a year ago. And I mean, they barely squeaked their way into the playoffs, but they also barely lost a playoff game to the Bills because they had shots there at the end. It's a better team, it's a better defense, it's a better quarterback situation, it's a better offensive coordinator. I just think the chances of them winning a playoff game are much higher than the Jets. I'll even say I think it's more likely that the Steelers win a playoff game than the Jets actually make the playoffs this year.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, I got the answer I wanted. That's exactly what I was looking for. But let's see what our listeners want to know from you, Noah. Steven says, what is more likely? Devontae helps the Jets win the AFC East, or Russ helps the Steelers win the AFC North?
Russ. Definitely Russ. I mean, 4-2, you're sitting. The Bills are going to win the AFC East. They just got so much better in Amari Cooper. You could say Amari Cooper's washed. He's 31. I don't care. He's Amari Cooper. He's a good wide receiver. And Josh Allen's a good quarterback. You want to know what Amari didn't have in Cleveland? Any reason to play or a quarterback. Now he's got both. So I would say the Bills are winning the AFC East. The Steelers just got to outlast the Ravens. And I think that's a possibility. You get them twice in the back half of the season. If you could keep up till the bye week, you're in a spot where you have to beat Washington. You have to beat Washington. But if you could, and then you get into those Cincy, Baltimore, Cleveland games, and you're winning, you're going to set yourself up for an opportunity. So I would say the Steelers winning the AFC North is more likely, just because their chances of having a shot at it are going to be much higher than the Jets climbing 2 games by the end of the season on the Bills. That just doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
All righty, let's go over to Dalton, who says, what's more likely to happen? Russ throws for 300 yards or TJ has 3 sacks?
TJ has 3 sacks. I mean, name one person on the Jets offensive line. I ask this every week because the Steelers have gotten very lucky playing really bad offensive lines. Really bad offensive lines. The Jets are still very questionable on the offensive line. They definitely got better. But very questionable on the offensive line. Good.
I was going to say, is Olu Fashanu actually starting? Because I know that he got drafted there this year.
I don't know if he's starting. I don't know where he's at in the depth
up.
chart. Yeah. I mean, that's a good option. I don't care where you got drafted. You are a rookie going up against TJ Watt. 3 sacks. TJ, that's the thing. TJ hasn't had the 3-sack game yet. He hasn't had that crazy game yet. That could come at any moment. That's what you're waiting for. Russ throwing for 300, possibly. But I also think this is a situation where you go up 14-0. The Steelers are hitting the parking brake and they're slowing it down. You know, they're putting it into neutral. We're coasting the rest of the way here. So I would say TJ 3 sacks. That just seems like that could happen in any given week compared to 300 yards. That just feels like you got to have the right opportunity.
All righty, let's go to what's more likely from Matt. The Steelers making it past the first round of the playoffs, or TJ Watt getting Defensive Player of the Year?
What's more likely where we stand right now is TJ, because it is, if the NFL does not give TJ Watt Defensive Player of the Year, if the season ended today and somebody else walked away with Defensive Player of the Year, it's rigged. It's done. There's just, what are we doing? What are we even talking about? Who's going to win it? Who's even close? Nobody is remotely close to TJ Watt where we currently stand. I would say TJ Watt winning Defensive Player of the Year are actually pretty good odds. Like, not bad odds at all right now. Making it past the first round of the playoffs all depends on fate. It all depends on who you're facing. If you're playing the Bills, you got an opportunity. If you're playing the Ravens, you got an opportunity. You're playing Kansas City? Sorry, pal. There's a very slim chance that one's going to happen, and you're going to be able to win that one. There are certain teams that you could look at and say the Steelers have the upper hand. There are certain teams that you look at and say, that one's going to be tough. Texans. Houston is not going to be an easy challenge if the Steelers end up facing the Texans. I think there are less risks with TJ. So I'm going TJ. That's what's more likely.
All righty, let's go over to Carl Spackler, who says, what's more likely? Tomlin is fired after his contract, or the Steelers draft Arch Manning in 2026?
I mean, if Russ is your quarterback right now, why not why not Arch Manning in 2026? You know, if you're gonna, why not just ride it out one more time with Russ in 2025 and then draft Peyton Manning's. You're telling me that Tomlin wouldn't be all over Arch Manning? He would love Arch Manning. Would love Arch Manning.
The problem being, for Tomlin to get Arch Manning, he would have to come in 32nd, which is not what Tomlin wants to be doing.
Definitely not. But he can also make a trade. Like, you go up and get him. And I'm not saying he's going to, but also we don't know if Arch is going to go first. Quarterbacks are always changing. Always changing. I get it. Archie Manning is Archie Manning, and everybody's going to be all over this guy. I 100% get it. What if he's super average next year? What if he takes over Quinn Ewers
on that Texas team? I don't know. I find that hard to believe.
I mean, I do too, but you never know. You never know. I would say, and if we're going what's more likely here, the chances of Mike Tomlin being fired ever are pretty much zero. Yeah. Like a pretty much, as in, I can't say they are zero because that would be too much of a fact. I'm not saying facts. I'm just saying simple logic, pretty much zero. So I would say Arch Manning in 2026. This is a good one, but I would say Arch Manning in 2026.
Alrighty, let's close out what's more likely week 7 with Macaroni Salad, who says, what's more likely, Roman gets a touchdown this year or Van Jefferson gets a touchdown this year?
Van Jefferson. The answer is Van Jefferson. You could change this a number of ways, and it still probably goes over Roman. You could say all 4 tight ends get a touchdown before Roman Wilson. You could probably say all 3 running backs get a touchdown before Roman Wilson. You could probably say Justin Fields catches a touchdown before Roman Wilson. Where we stand right now, it's just Roman might not even play this weekend. And then who knows? What if he doesn't play again this season? It barely took him. It took him everything they had to put him out here the first time, and he played 5 snaps. So I would say Van Jefferson, he's just going to play. He's just going to consistently play. And eventually somebody's going to leave him open. That's the thing, is somebody is eventually going to be like, damn it, we forgot Van Jefferson. And there he is, and he's going to catch a touchdown. Like, that's what's going to happen. It won't be by design, but it'll happen. I would say Van Jefferson. And like, he's going to do, it's going to be like 1-0. Like, it's not going to be Van scores 10. It's 1-0. That's, but I would go Van.